In this video, we're going to take a look at Activity 135, Documenting and Design. And specifically in this video, we're going to be taking a look at how to create a B-size custom title block within Fusion 360. And while I go through as a note, I create a different title block for my students and to use at my school, which includes my school logo and the PLTW logo for the program. That can be seen in another video. This one here is going to follow strictly with the curriculum and ask for the items that they're asking for that title block. I'm going to go ahead and go up to File and say New Drawing Template. We're going to choose from scratch ASME inch B-size title blocks. We can always choose those and say OK. And from here, we always have a placeholder that always ends up being put in there. We can hit Cancel. And I can click on the title block here. I can right click and say New Title Block. And you can have an option of creating from an origin block if there's one you're trying to stay pretty close to like ANSI style. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do from this option here is going to say from scratch. And then you can always import one like maybe from AutoCAD or anything as such. So here we'll call this IED title block B and say OK. Here's what we end up getting from this. Most of your line weights are going to be 0.25 when you're starting out. I like to leave these options checked, especially Snap to Grid. They're going to help us out with creating a lot of the options. So what you're going to see here is this is the border on the page. These little corner markers are the corners of the page. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my line tool, and I'm going to click a line, and I'm going to go ahead and just trace over the bottom of the border. When I do that, I'm going to use the Move tool. We want to have a title block that ends up having about an inch tall, so with all the information. So we can select that line, go up here to our menu, Transform, choose the end of the line, and then you'll notice that you'll get a polar coordinate telling you how far that you're moving it up. So here's 1 inch. I click to set it. I can say OK. Okay, some of the things that you're going to work from, this is going to have a lot of information in it. I'm going to probably go through and maybe skip over a few little things, but here you can have a line set into, usually what I like to do is kind of set a line there. And let's say using the Move tool, we give our first kind of block of information, let's do about 4 inches, and we'll see how far that goes. All right, so what we have here on the title block, we're going to use our text tool. The text tool is anything that we want. I'm going to click to set it, and then there's going to be a box that shows up. So I'm going to go ahead and just click, and then left click again to place the box. So this is going to be project. Now this is going to be something that's going to show up all the time. So here I'm going to go ahead and maybe I want to bold that particular case, and I can say close. And then in order to set in, a lot of times what we can do is we can always set in something called an attribute. So an attribute, when I place it, it's going to give me a few different options here that are automatically populated, or I could do a custom attribute. So this is a project, so I'm going to go ahead and choose project name, and then maybe I want this to be a little taller, maybe about 0.25, or here they've even got 0.35 here in the name, but I think 0.25 is probably going to be the better option because depending on how long your project names are. We'll say close, and then you can always adjust these by the little grips, little gray box. So that grip box that allows you to kind of change and put those in. Again, you want to leave a little bit of room just based upon project names and things like that. Okay, so as we go along, we're going to go ahead and use the text tool again. So same option, so click, you can left click to stop typing in the box or to stop placing the box. Title there, I'm going to go ahead, I got to make sure your text is highlighted, and I'm going to bold that one. Throw the attribute down here. So we do have the title 1 as an attribute, and I'm going to go ahead and change the text height to match the one we did before. Okay, so as we go along, same kind of thing here. Maybe I use my Move tool. Actually, I can use copy, select this line, transform, and then copy another line over. So the only thing is that copy will, looks like it's not really working for me very well. Let me go and just draw another line over. And then move, because copy doesn't really give you or at least it wasn't there giving me the measurements I was looking for. So title, let's say we do about another, let's do three quarters of the way over, and then we can start getting into some of our other information. I'm going to draw a line from here. We're going to get into some smaller ones. I'm going to find the midpoint on this line, which is noted by the green triangle. It will tell you it's a midpoint. I'm going to draw one straight across and go ahead and have that set up there. Okay, as far as text goes, let's do checked. We will do drawn. And we may want to, we can always resize the box to fit. And here I'm just bolding these by highlighting and doing Control B on my keyboard. And then some of the attributes that we may want to do, so like checked, when we go to do the checked or the drawn, like I said, some of these attributes, let me go ahead and place the checked one. There's not a checked option. So as far as checked by, name, or anything like that. So we would need to run a custom attribute. And that custom attribute, you know, we could end up saying checked by. And then I can go ahead and hit close. Now that blue text is going to be something that isn't automatically populated, but it's something that when we come into the drawing, we can kind of add in. So I'm going to do attribute here for the drawn. This one does have a drawn by option, and we can go ahead and throw that in. I'm going to take my line tool, and I'm going to leave a little bit of room here in this case. I'm also going to throw another attribute in right about here for the drawn date, and go ahead and hit close. So, and we'll see how this looks. We may have to go back in and edit some things as this kind of works. Okay, as far as text, we can put in client, we can put in scale, we can put in size, and again, we can always kind of move these around. And we need, I'm going to go ahead and do all the text options here. Drawing number and sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and put these outside of here. Okay, if you want to bold these, if you don't want to bold these, it's up to you. I mean, that's kind of the point of creating like a custom title block. This is a lot of the common information you see in a lot of drawings, so that's why that we're kind of adding these in. Okay, I'm going to throw some attributes in here. So the client, again, we don't have a client, so we're going to do a, maybe I'll put client name in there for the custom attribute. Attribute here for the scale. So it will be drawing scale. And for the attribute, let's go ahead and throw in the paper size. And then again, like here, so let's go ahead and let's get some dividers put in. Let me go ahead and put in this one here and put in this one. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and continue that all the way down, all the way down. Drawing number we'll throw here. Sheet number we'll throw in here. Got to be careful. Sometimes zooming in helps you with the snap to grid option. I like the snap to grid. Kind of helps me with maintaining where those are at, because you can see it's helping me line these up a little bit better, and I kind of like them to be toward the center of the box as well. Okay, so here attribute, drawing number, this would be a custom, so you can end up seeing, you can put that in there as well. And then this last one, the sheet, this one should be sheet number, and that one would go through and show up as well. So sheet number would refer to which sheet, 1 out of 1, 1 out of, or 1 of 2, 2 of 2, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and say close on the attribute, and here's what we end up having. So this is kind of like what you see in the curriculum. Again, this is some stuff you can kind of manipulate these a little bit more, but that's how you would do that. Once you're done, you're going to say finish title block. And the only thing is you're going to notice these custom attributes are going to be ones that don't go through and show up. So whenever you bring in a drawing, we need to go ahead and save this. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save, and I'm going to save this into a folder. Again, I would call this IED title block B and say save. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this just so that way. And then when I open this up in the data panel, let me open up this title block once more. And I'll tell you what, let's close this down and let's actually create something to use this. So let me go ahead and create a new component. We'll call it test object. And we'll just create like a very simple kind of shape. I'm not going to worry about necessarily worry about our dimensions or anything, but let's go ahead and get something that looks kind of good. So let me save this. We'll call this test object. And then what we can do is when we go to use our drawing template, we can say new drawing from design. We're choosing this option as far as the full assembly, as far as the reference. From here, our template, we can browse. Here I've got another set of title blocks, but if you look in your folder, you can select it, and then you can say OK, and this will bring up the title block. So you're going to notice that here I can click, I'm going to say OK. Here's where I can place my views and do all that good stuff for a drawing, and go to dimension it. You can see here's the project name, here's the title, here's the drawn by and date. Now the only thing you'll see is again those custom attributes are not showing up. So if you double click on your title block, you'll see there's the blue lettering. So here if you go through and put checked by, we can put in who it was checked by. We can click on the client name. And then we can go ahead and put in the drawing number. So let's say we do that. Once we put those in, I'm going to right click and I'm just going to say OK. And now there's where those attributes will show up. But those are automatically set. They have placeholders and they're ready for you there. So anything custom that you would want to go through and add in, you can go ahead and do so. And that's how you create a custom title block for activity 135 or a custom title block you want to create in your classroom.